ASMR self-improvement. Procrastination kills productivity, and it can make you second-guess yourself. Why can't I get the stuff done that I need to? What's wrong with me? I thought I would be in a much better place financially by now. It's not that these things are hard. I just don't seem to be able to get them done. Why does my to-do list seem to grow overnight? I have big dreams I know I can make happen if I can just get started on them. Maybe you don't need to be convinced that your procrastinating habits are causing problems. That might be why you are here right now. You are fed up with your seemingly unbreakable habit of putting things off until later. You've seen the damage this can do in your personal life and perhaps at work. By the way, we mention the word habit for a reason. That's what procrastination is. Procrastination, like getting a tattoo, is rarely a one and done deal. You consciously put things off so regularly that it becomes an unconscious habit. Where procrastination is concerned, this happens for one very important reason. Your brain loves you. Your brain is always trying to keep you alive. It wants you safe and sound. So, when you are presented with a decision to do something that might make you feel stressed, anxious, uncomfortable, uncertain, a little fearful, or downright terrified, your brain convinces you to worry about it later. Your brain reasons that all the stress you're feeling about something you need to do is harmful to you. So it recommends procrastination. Why not put it off until later and deal with it then? If you say yes to your brain, the stress instantly starts to go away. The problem is that when you do this over and over, procrastinating can become a habit in many areas of your life. This process of your brain trying to get rid of stress in your life is why taking quick action is necessary. You act before your brain can get in your way, which is the key to beating procrastination. Just as unproductive habits form because of negative repetitive actions, you can form positive habits to start getting more done and take a lot of stress out of your life. Procrastination doesn't remove stress, it just puts it off. Before you know it, you have so many things to deal with that the amount of stress you have is many times greater than what it would have been if you had dealt with each situation individually on time. We want to help you avoid procrastination's negative impact on your life. This guide offers strategies to help you get more done in your personal life and on the job. This means less stress and fewer negative emotions, more achievement at work and fulfillment at home, and a better quality of life. We'll start by defining procrastination and then looking at the different types of this productivity, crushing, self-esteem killing behaviour. You'll closely examine what causes you to put things off, because prevention is always the best medicine. If you know what's making you procrastinate, you can address those feelings and eliminate those behaviours before they do any damage. We will cover different ways that putting off taking action can cause harm in your life. One small issue can become a huge problem if you let procrastination build. We'll examine some common examples you might be all too familiar with. Then, we give you some powerful tools to prevent procrastination. You can put them to use immediately to get more done at work and in your personal life. You'll enjoy less stress and anxiety and avoid the dangers of putting things off. If you're ready to get more done, to feel better about yourself and your accomplishments, and maybe even start achieving those big goals that have been unreachable until now, let's give procrastination a definition. Understanding procrastination. You probably have a good idea of what procrastination is. Even so, to make sure we're on the same page, let's define the word. Definition of procrastination. Procrastinate, verb, to be slow or late about doing something that should be done. To delay doing something until a later time because you do not want to do it, because you are lazy, etc. That etc. covers a lot of reasons for procrastinating. You might delay doing something because you're worried about the possible outcome. Maybe you convince yourself you'll be better prepared to get a job done properly if you wait long enough. Sometimes we avoid dealing with a situation because we believe we will find out we have something big and scary we have to deal with. This can be a real issue because most problems don't disappear if you ignore them. For example, you know you have to talk to your child. He is usually an excellent student. He gets the best grades at school without making much of an effort. When you talk with his teachers, they have nothing but good things to say. That is, until a new teacher of his called last week. Your son has become listless in class. His grades are slipping. While that's concerning enough, his teacher says it doesn't seem he cares about fixing the problem, and he has become disruptive in the classroom. As the great human brain often does, yours begins painting nightmare scenarios to explain why this is happening. You ask yourself if he is possibly doing drugs. Are there mental health issues like depression at work here? Is your child being bullied? Maybe the new teacher doesn't like your son and is acting out against him. You must talk to your child, but how do you approach these subjects? Will he distance himself from you because you are accusing him of something he's not doing? Are you the problem? Have you done something wrong? Is there a problem with someone else in your home or with one of your child's friends? You decide to put off talking to your child until tomorrow. He seems fine today, then tomorrow comes and you put it off yet another day. Before you know it, you find it easier to rationalize that everything will work itself out on its own. This is potentially a situation where your child desperately needs some help, and putting off approaching the issue could have dire consequences. Sometimes it's tough to take action. Once your brain starts imagining the worst possible what-if scenarios, it can go on forever. It will give you every possible reason to avoid taking action. As we mentioned earlier, this is because it prefers you to be stress-free. It's not intentionally sabotaging you or your quality of life, but that's the byproduct of its efforts to protect you. Now that we have a good definition of procrastination and an example of how it can lead to more procrastinating behaviour, let's look at its different variations. Types of procrastination. Looking back at that simple procrastination definition, it doesn't paint the full picture. There are specific types of procrastination. Here are a few common forms of delaying behaviour can cause personal and workplace problems. Worrying. The worrier is anxious. This is the procrastinator described above that keeps putting off talking to their child. There could be a belief that they don't have the skills to perform a certain task, or that they won't be able to handle it for some other reason. Behind a lot of this worrying is a fear of failure. If they don't start a task, they can't fail, right? They rationalise that there is always the chance that they will come up with a solution later, tomorrow, next week, or next month. Remember how we mentioned that your brain always tries to keep you from feeling emotions like uncertainty, fear, and low self-esteem? That's what's happening here. Your brain convinces you that any negative emotions you might experience, if you fail, don't have to be dealt with, if you don't make any attempt at all. This person often thinks, I know I won't be able to do this because perfectionism. This is another anxiety-based type of procrastination. It is similar to worrying because there is a fear of failure. In this case, though, something is put off because the perfectionist won't be happy with a nearly perfect result. This is an all-or-nothing attitude. There's no need to take action if absolute perfection isn't guaranteed. If the warrior from above knew they would be 90% successful in some endeavour, they might happily take action rather than procrastinate. This is definitely not the case with the perfectionist. Even a 99% success isn't good enough. The thought pattern is that everything has to be absolutely perfect for them to take action. As you know, the world is incomplete, imperfect, hectic, and constantly changing. Waiting for the perfect set of circumstances before taking action means the perfectionist will be waiting and procrastinating for a very long time. Chronic commitment. This person tries to do too much. They don't understand the word no. Ask them to help you, and they immediately add you to their list of responsibilities without even taking the time to see if they can do what is required. They could have the best of intentions. These people often want to do a lot of good in the world. While their hearts are in the right place, they can cause many problems in their lives and the lives of others by accepting too many responsibilities. They never say no because they believe they are a failure if they can't handle more than everybody else. They challenge themselves all of the time to accomplish more. Then they start to prioritise the items on their crowded to-do list. They realise there is no possible way that everything can get done promptly, and their feelings of failure grow. They procrastinate because they have so much to do. They don't know where to get started. This creates anxiety and leads to making more commitments to prove they can do it all. Not much gets accomplished other than promising that they can handle everything. Daydreaming. Some of the greatest achievements began as dreams. Someone dared to believe they could do something big and create a huge, new and wonderful reality. In people that take action, dreams become goals. Goals are given game plans. Then action is taken. This differs from the daydreamer because very little to no action ever occurs. The dreamer believes in some wonderful reality. Nothing is wrong with that. You should definitely dream big. The problem is that the daydreaming procrastinator expects things to fall into his extremes have nothing to do with their responsibilities. A person has relationship problems, issues at work, and financial difficulties, and keeps putting off handling those situations. He spends his time daydreaming about anything else instead of dealing with reality. Defiance. Do you ever put off doing something mundane? We do this all the time at home, don't we? Somebody else should take out the trash, wash the car, and cut the grass, because those are boring, simple jobs anyone can do. The defying procrastinator believes such activities are beneath him. You may hear employees in the workplace complaining about the work they have been given. It's not that they don't think they can handle it. Their belief is quite the opposite. They should be given bigger, more important tasks, and this routine assignment should be handled by someone who is not as important or skilled as they are. This can lead to rebellious behaviours and is often seen in teenagers who can't believe they have to do chores around the house. Because of this defiant attitude, they don't take any action. They procrastinate. They never begin. In this way, they feel they are acting out against a person, a situation, or even against themselves. Whereas the warrior believes they won't be able to do something properly, the defiant procrastinator believes they shouldn't have to do it. Creating a crisis. The crisis creator likes to wait until the last minute. There is a subconscious or possibly a conscious belief that their best possible work needs a rapidly approaching deadline. While most procrastination is about avoiding stress, this person enjoys the stress and pressure of being in a tough situation. They might have several things they must do in their personal life or at work. They will look through their responsibilities and ignore any that don't put them in crisis mode. It's admirable to take action on a task that needs to be completed as soon as possible. The problem with the crisis maker is that they intentionally put off taking action until the very last minute. These people often have an overblown view of their abilities. The results they create are nowhere near as good as they could have been if they had taken their time rather than rushing through some task or responsibility. Immediate gratification. We live in a world where many people want everything right now. This constant desire for immediate gratification can lead to paralyzing procrastination. If you have a task to deal with that's very important, you consider taking action. Then you realize that you can watch a movie, waste a few hours online, or ask your best friend to come over and hang out instead. These things offer immediate distractions. Your brain gets a lot of dopamine and other chemicals that create positive emotions. This is much more preferable to the stress, anxiety, uncertainty, and other negative emotions that might accompany doing what you should be doing. List making. Some people get a lot accomplished by making lists. Others make so many lists that their entire day concerns planning and not taking action. The simplest of tasks can become incredibly detailed in the hands of a list maker. Taken to the extreme, list-making procrastinators will create a detailed, step-by-step action plan for tying their shoes. They make lots of lists, but don't take lots of action. Do any of these types of procrastinating behaviour hit home for you? If so, yourself a hard time about it. Remember, procrastination is often a habit. Just as habits are quickly formed, they can be broken. You can form new habits that let you accomplish much in life, rather than putting things off until the promised tomorrow, which never appears. Now, let's look at some common causes of these types of procrastination. Causes of procrastination. People have different reasons for putting things off until a later date. Sometimes they have no choice. A person's job is driving them crazy. They can't wait until they can take some extended time off. Unfortunately, they don't have the money to do that right now, so they start saving money and plan for a much needed vacation sometime in the future when they could really use one right now. Much of the time, the reason why we procrastinate is voluntary. We make a choice. We engage in self-defeating behaviour because we either want to avoid something or experience something right now. Procrastinating is about avoiding something we'd rather not do for several reasons. Sometimes we put things off because we'd rather be doing something else. Avoidance and immediate gratification are two reasons why many of us procrastinate. Here are some other common causes of procrastination that can create minor to serious problems. We are afraid of the unknown. Imagine that you start feeling sick when you are usually very healthy. You're under the weather for a couple of days, but your condition doesn't keep you from working and handling your personal responsibilities. You recover and think no more of it. Then a week later, you begin to feel sick again. This episode lasts for 4 days. What's going on? Is this going to start recurring regularly? You decide that you should probably see a doctor to be on the safe side. Instead of picking up the phone, calling your doctor and scheduling an appointment, you give your brain time to do what it does so well. Create what-if scenarios. Unfortunately, the human brain likes imagining negative outcomes rather than positive ones. So, you begin to think of all the terrible possibilities that could be causing your sickness. You may even turn to the internet to perform a self-diagnosis. You discover that while your symptoms could be nothing to worry about, they're also caused by a few nasty diseases. Your imagination runs wild. Since you've recovered from your second bout of this illness, whatever it is, you decide to put off talking to your doctor. You embrace the idea that what you don't know can't hurt you. This is the rationalization that is driving your procrastination. You procrastinate because of a fear of the unknown. You would rather go on not knowing what is causing a problem, rather than discover it is something serious you must deal with. Comfort. Your brain can quickly convince you that whatever you're doing right now is significantly more enjoyable than what you might face if you take some action. Your level of comfort doesn't have to be very high for this cause of procrastination to kick in. You believe that if you don't do anything, you will be much more comfortable and at ease than if you do. It has been said that human beings are intrinsically lazy. It's not so much that laziness is at play. There's more of a belief you should leave well enough alone. If you are doing fairly well right now, why engage in any behaviour that might change that negatively? Low self-esteem, poor self-image. Sometimes emotions and feelings which lead to procrastination. A person doesn't believe they are capable of handling a task properly. There is a fear that they may look bad if they fail, or they could make a difficult situation worse. A negative self-image can lead to stress and anxiety, often found where there is a repeated pattern of procrastination. One problem here is that this can become cyclical behaviour. A person has something he needs to do. He convinces himself that he is the wrong person for the job for many reasons. He isn't smart or capable enough and can see himself failing for many reasons. So, he doesn't take action. He believes the negative conversation he is having with himself. The task gets handled by someone else. This reinforces his belief that he isn't good enough in many ways, leading to future procrastination. The cycle repeats. Misplaced or misinformed confidence. Someone puts off doing something because they have supreme confidence in themselves. She is absolutely certain that she can take care of this task. So she works on other projects because she fully believes the task will be easy to handle. She'll wait until later. Then she finds out she shouldn't have been so confident. Things are more difficult than she imagined, and she ends up with a mess on her hands. Sometimes it's not misplaced confidence at play. Someone may be given the wrong information. They aren't given the full job requirements, and what little they are told seems simple enough. They put off getting started because they don't have the right information going in. Distractions, trouble focusing and concentrating. Sometimes neurological disorders or other conditions may cause procrastinating behaviour. ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, make it difficult for someone to get started on a project, however simple it may be. There are also difficulties staying on task and on track once they begin. A person might be in a very busy, loud, distracting environment. This makes it difficult to focus on the task at hand. There are many reasons why it's difficult to concentrate and focus. They could all lead to procrastination because it becomes too frustrating or virtually impossible to focus a person's attention. Sometimes a person intentionally provides himself with plenty of distractions. This means he can always make some rationalization to put something off. After all, he has all this other stuff around him. A simple fix is tackling responsibilities and tasks in a distraction-free environment. No motivation. This is one of the more common causes of procrastinating. A person can't find a reason for taking action. What's the point? Where are the benefits? They don't see any need to get started or understand something is important, but they cannot get going. A lack of motivation can be caused by chronic fatigue, stress, or low energy. It may be that the person lacking motivation has failed when attempting similar things in the past, so they have zero desire to repeat that experience. Sometimes the goal or benefit of completing a task isn't clear enough. A lack of self-confidence can keep a person from creating the motivation to take action. Complexities, difficulties. If the task is difficult and complex, or possibly a new experience for someone, they might not know how to get started. Fear of taking the exact first step can paralyze them into inactivity. Maybe getting started is simple enough. Then they look at the entire process that needs to be followed and they decide it's way too complex or hard for them. Laziness. Sometimes procrastination boils down to being lazy. You decide that what you need to do will take some strenuous effort. It will require you to burn serious amounts of physical or mental energy, even though you might make something more difficult to handle later. You put it off anyway because you don't feel like dealing with it. These aren't the only causes of procrastination. If rationalization can be created by the human brain, it can make you put something off when you know you should be taking care of it. What happens when a lack of motivation, a fear of the unknown, or some other factor causes you to procrastinate? The impact of the downside can be anywhere from mild to serious. Procrastinating rarely leads to a good outcome. So let's examine the harm it can cause. The negative impact of procrastination. Refusing to deal with your job responsibilities promptly can cause many problems. You aren't as efficient as some co-workers, so they get promoted, and you don't. Resentment builds because you didn't receive the promotion you wanted. Workplace relationships suffer, and you're looking for another job before you know it. If that sounds too businesslike for your situation, and you don't believe procrastinating has much of a negative impact on your personal life, imagine the following scenario. Your car is making funny noises. You know you should get it checked out. You have a lot going on today, so you'll just put it off until tomorrow. That's no big deal, right? Tomorrow comes, and a friend calls you out of the blue. You haven't seen her in a long time. She wants to have lunch. You have the day off, and plan to take your car to the shop. You figure you can do that after having lunch with your friend. Lunch goes well. The two of you start chatting, and then it's back to your house so you can continue catching up on what's been happening in your lives. Your car's issues start moving towards the back of your mind. The following day, the kids are driving you crazy. You need to clean up the house, shop for groceries, and have a million other things to do. Sorry car, you'll have to wait. You realise your to-do list has become a problem, so you try to determine if there are any things on it you can put off until later. In your mind, that's almost like actually doing them. The car is still making noises, but it's getting you from point A to point B, so a checkup can wait. Your dirty laundry is going nowhere. You can get to it tomorrow or in a couple of days. Your messy house has been worse, so there's nothing wrong with putting it off until the upcoming weekend. By putting off these and other simple responsibilities, the list of what you are going to do today gets shorter and shorter. You are feeling so productive. You are proud of your ability to prioritize, procrastinate, so you aren't running around like a crazy person trying to get everything done. You look at what is left on your to-do list. You start knocking things out. Your day is going well. That is until your car's engine dies and your vehicle stops in the middle of the road. You are stuck in traffic with a carload of hyperactive kids and groceries you need to get home and into your refrigerator and freezer. Your car refuses to start, and you are greeted with honking horns and colourful expletives from your fellow drivers. With everything else going on in your life, now procrastination not being a big deal in your personal life. Those are just a couple of ways that what appears harmless procrastination can have a big impact, not in a good way. Here are some other reasons you should avoid procrastination at all costs, even if it doesn't appear to be a big deal at the time. Your stress and anxiety shoot through the roof. High stress and anxiety levels can cause you to procrastinate. Guess what? They are also symptoms of a person that procrastinates frequently. When you put things off, the stress you might be experiencing over them doesn't disappear. In many cases, you trade a little stress now for a lot later. Guilt, regret, and shame lead to lower self-esteem and a poor self-image. Procrastination and negative emotions are fast friends. They are happy to promote each other. You can definitely experience guilt if you procrastinate to the point that your inactivity causes someone else to suffer. Procrastination might make you regret missing opportunities. It's common to feel shame when procrastination impacts your life. These and other emotions can ruin your self-image and damage your self-esteem. You don't get to live your dream life. Does that sound a little heavy-handed? Were we wrong to say that you can't live the life of your dreams if you procrastinate regularly? We don't think so. Procrastination doesn't accomplish anything. It kicks the can down the road, putting off until tomorrow what you should be doing today. That's no way to chase down your dreams and accomplish your goals. Talk to anyone who is a big success, and they will tell you that procrastination can kill your dreams. If you want to change anything in your life, you'll have to overcome procrastination at some point. It would be best to get past whatever is causing you to resist action. We'll help you do exactly that when we share some powerful strategies for overcoming procrastination later. Missed opportunities. You turn down an opportunity because you believe you will always be able to take advantage of it at some future point in time. Then it disappears. You put off starting a business today because you rationalize that you are young and have plenty of time. Then you blink your eyes and several decades have flown by. An opportunity is presented to you. It will require hard work, much of your spare time, and a decent but reasonable financial investment. You decide to procrastinate and see if you can get involved later. You miss getting in on the ground floor of what turns out to be the next Microsoft or Amazon. You develop limiting beliefs. People who procrastinate once tend to do it again and again. Since procrastination almost exclusively leads to negative experiences, you start to form limiting beliefs. You look at your life and believe your good enough existence is all that was meant for you, is all that is possible. Chronic procrastination doesn't allow you to believe you can expand your situation or grow in any way. You reinforce limiting beliefs that are created by your procrastinating habits. If this goes on for any amount of time, you might start believing you can't possibly enjoy a life that is bigger, better, and more fulfilling than your life right now. Career and financial difficulties. Procrastinators don't fly up the corporate ladder, they stagnate. If they aren't careful, they might find themselves jobless. Poor productivity is not something companies are looking for in an employee. Procrastinating on the job and in business can create financial difficulties relationships. The procrastinator in a relationship makes many reasons for not tending to his partner's needs. This is true in personal and workplace relationships. Bad things can happen if you don't hold up your end of the bargain in any partnership. Sometimes, chronic procrastination makes a person blind to its effects on others. This means a person is entirely caught off guard when someone they care about decides to end the relationship. Poor physical and mental health. In many cases, stress is an emotional and physical byproduct of procrastination. Stress which originates in the mind can cause serious problems in the body. High stress and anxiety levels increase the chances of developing serious neurological diseases and disorders. The stress that procrastination can cause has been linked to some cancers, heart disease, respiratory problems, and liver cirrhosis. These are physical embodiments of stress produced by procrastination that can be avoided. You lose the one thing you can never get back: time. You don't really lose time when you procrastinate. What you do is make a conscious decision to choose short-term benefits that can cost you dearly in the long term. You decide to embrace time-wasting behaviours rather than doing things that can significantly and positively impact your life. Nobody knows how much time they have, so why do we often squander it as if we can replace time whenever we like? Once you invest a minute of your time in anything, it's lost. There's no getting it back. The insidious nature of procrastination is that it can become habitual. Before you know it, you are 10 or 20 or 30 years older, and you can't go back and wisely use the time you lost to procrastination. Strategies for overcoming procrastination. Up to this point, we have shared a few general tips for preventing procrastination. That is, after all, the purpose of this report. Get control of procrastinating habits, and you can enjoy a greater quality of life. That's true of your personal life and your career. The following tips for beating procrastination can help you on the job and in your personal life. Overcoming procrastination in the workplace. All jobs and careers are not the same. They can be different in so many ways. There are more home-based workers than ever before. You might work from home or have a traditional location-based job. Whatever your career or employment details, the following practices can help you prevent procrastination. You become more productive and receive more rewards for your efforts on the job. Start every work day with a clean slate. Just because you procrastinated yesterday doesn't mean you will today. Procrastination is a decision. Procrastinate enough, and it can become habit forming. Instead of calling yourself a procrastinator, recognize that you may have done this. The fact that you weren't very productive on the job yesterday has nothing to do with today. You get to start each day of your career any way you like. Why not adopt a positive attitude that you're going to get a lot accomplished today, rather than seeing procrastination as inevitable? Just get started. If you take too much time to start a task at work, that task will have company. Your boss won't stop giving you work to do just because you haven't started the workload he gave you yesterday. Sometimes the easiest way to beat procrastination is to just get started. Stop thinking about all the possible outcomes. Take a step, even if it's a small one. Tell yourself yourself you'll work on some dreaded project for 15 minutes. Once you get started, you're likely to continue, which makes taking that first step a procrastination killer. Limit distractions. There are plentiful distractions in the workplace if you look for them. The key is to ignore them. If your job environment is noisy, get a pair of headphones and play light, instrumental music. Turn your desk away from the window. Clear unnecessary clutter from your workspace. Limit the number of distractions you have to deal with, and you instantly ramp up your productivity. Distractions are a leading cause of procrastination. Get rid of as many distractions as you can to be more productive on the job. Embrace I choose to rather than I have to. You can't believe some of the tasks you're given to do. It's as if your boss reserves all your most miserable jobs. Maybe you work for yourself at home. If that's the case, you'll still be forced to deal with work responsibilities you'd rather not be doing. In these examples, turn a necessary task into a voluntary choice to beat procrastination. Here's what you do. Turn. I have to finish these reports before I can leave for the day. Into, I will finish these reports in record time because I get to leave as soon as I do. The situation hasn't changed. There are reports which require your attention. What has changed is that you look at your task as something you choose to do, rather than something that's being forced on you, something you have to do. Clarify and communicate priorities. Indecision can keep you from getting started. If you have several things to do at work, which one do you start first? Are some tasks more important than others? Are the deadlines you were given last month still applicable today? Communication can prevent so many causes of procrastination at work and in your personal life. Make sure you are clear about what priorities are in place. Communicate with your boss regularly so you're always working on the most important task. It's much better to ask for clarity than to make an assumption that leads to wasted time and poor productivity. Reward action. If you need to get something done, give yourself a reason. We're not talking about the reason your boss gave you. He wants you to finish a task because it helps him and it helps the company. You need to reframe that task so it becomes more attractive to you. Give yourself small rewards for taking small actions and bigger rewards for bigger actions. This can make even the most dreaded task interesting. You'll become more productive and you will procrastinate less. Stop promising the world. It's enticing to promise your boss you can handle everything. It's also a task that is very difficult to achieve. Stop over-promising in the workplace. This includes promises you make to co-workers, your managers or bosses, and your employees or business partners. When you promise a lot, you have to do a lot. This could mean putting off several promises because your dance card is full. Stop multitasking. Focus on one thing at a time at work. You always get more done that way. Trying to do many things simultaneously confuses your brain and leads to poor productivity. That breeds procrastination because you haven't been as productive as possible. Look at the individual letters of the word focus. Follow one course until success. Use this practice to tackle and achieve one task at a time, and you will be less of a procrastinator in the workplace. Ask for help. You might be concerned about asking for help on the job. Will your boss think that you aren't that capable? It's much smarter to ask for help than to put off starting a project. When you procrastinate, your boss might think you're ignoring what he wants you to do. Get help if you're putting off doing something because you're uncertain about how to begin. Form a workplace support network of co-workers that help each other when they don't know where to begin. Overcoming procrastination in your personal life. How much do you need to accomplish in your personal life today, this weekend, and this month? Do you have any big goals you haven't been successful in turning into reality so far? How many things do you have to do versus things you want to do? You are presented every day with choices in your personal life. How you handle those choices greatly affects the reality you experience. Here are a few tips for avoiding procrastination in your personal life so you stress less, get more done, and have more free time. Start with something fun. You build steam if you tackle your personal to-do list by starting with something you love doing. You jump to your next task with a positive attitude and a smile. Starting your day with something you enjoy doing leads to less procrastination. Stop striving for perfection. If you aim for perfection in everything you do, you won't do much of anything. This is a big reason why some people put things off. They don't see the possibility of achieving a perfect result, so they never take action. The landscaping around your home is never going to look perfect. The perfect meal has never been cooked. There are no perfect families or perfect people. Expecting everything to be perfect before you take action means you could be waiting forever. Likewise, expecting your actions to produce a perfect outcome is unreasonable. Those types of expectations can keep you from taking the first step. Disconnect. Pull the plug. Your many devices can be an endless source of distractions. Whatever you have to do, talk with your romantic partner, do some housework, balance your bank book, etc. You're more likely to get it done if you aren't on your phone or online. Disconnecting from technology can help you connect to whatever you should be doing now. Communicate expectations and set boundaries. The simple act of talking to someone can keep so many problems from developing. It's a shame that we don't communicate deeply as often as we should. The people in your personal life have a significant impact on your standard of living. They can't help you live your best life if you don't communicate expectations with them. This should be a two-way street. Make communication enjoyable. You want to look forward to it. When you are talking about what you expect from each other, make sure to set and respect clear boundaries. Healthy boundaries prevent procrastination. Sometimes you might not take action because you are afraid to step on someone's toes. If you know the boundaries in place, this isn't a concern. When communication channels are open, you won't put off having to talk to someone about a tender subject. Make one big task several small manageable mini tasks. A huge task might look overwhelming. You are thinking about the end result rather than a few first steps that can get you started. None of the significant achievements made by man would have been possible unless the big goal was broken down into many smaller, less writes a book, the first thing he does is create an outline. Writing a book of 400 pages might seem daunting. It isn't perceived as difficult when that content is broken into 10 chapters. The author begins and progresses by simply writing one chapter at a time. The same is true in any area of your personal life where a big achievement is desired. Turn a large task or problem into smaller, bite-sized actions, and you're more likely to get started. Reduce the number of decisions you have to make. Decisions. You have so much to do today. What do you do first? Looking over everything you have to accomplish is giving you a headache, so you decide to take a break and relax instead. You will get back to prioritizing your day after you watch a little TV. You know what happens next. A bunch of nothing. When you have a lot to do, you can become overwhelmed. This leads to indecisiveness and procrastination. Write down everything you're responsible for, then be honest with yourself. Remove the want to activities from your list. You can get to those after you tend to the have to tasks. Prioritize everything. Is there anything you can delegate? Can you combine a couple of tasks to kill 2 birds with 1 stone? If you can reduce the number of decisions you have to make, you lower the odds that you will procrastinate. Get organized. The organization is the arch enemy of procrastinating. Sometimes you put off getting started because you can't put your hands on the necessary tools. An organized, clutter-free home is more conducive to action than procrastination. Look at the long-term benefits. Having a difficult conversation with a friend might not be easy. To have that talk, consider what benefits you'll receive from it. If you procrastinate now, that could lead to never having the talk. What damage could that lead to? What long-term benefits does having an honest and necessary chat with a friend give you? Understanding that doing tough things today might deliver long-term rewards makes it easier to embrace a difficult situation. Incentivize action. You are not looking forward to sitting down with your partner and creating a manageable budget. You hate crunching numbers and worrying about finances. If you wait until tomorrow or next week, your money issues will remain. Instead of procrastinating, give yourself an incentive to take action. You and your partner can agree that you'll treat yourself to something special as soon as a workable and realistic budget is drawn up. This rewards taking action when you would rather put something off. Conclusion. Procrastination kills more than just productivity. It can ruin your self-image and destroy your self-esteem. Your career can suffer greatly, and your financial health as well. If you constantly put off taking care of yourself, your mental and physical health can deteriorate. There are plenty of reasons to learn how to procrastinate less. That's what this guide can help you do. We shared some common types of procrastination and what causes this behaviour. This is important because you can stop bad habits if you know why you do something. You discovered that the negative impact of putting off your responsibilities can be very serious, especially if this behaviour is repetitive. Most importantly of all, you now have proven strategies for overcoming procrastination. These are tips for boosting workplace productivity and personal activities that can help you live a more fulfilling and rewarding life. These are all things you can quality of life, less stress and anxiety, and better mental and physical health.